capital of Nigeria. I'm Ayodele Uzubakun. Today on the program, Senate Chief Whip Senator Ali Ndume describes the renovation of Senate chamber as a poor job. And later on the show, Nigerians kick against cybersecurity levy and other taxes, say the policy will fuel inflation and impede business growth. I'll be hanging out with Babajide Kolade Otitojun. And if you are ready, let the hangout start now. Benjamin Lubiri will be joining us in the course of the program. Before we go into the discussion, let's apologize to the people and the government of Kaduna State over the use of wrong pictures during our discussion on the story of residents fleeing some communities in Giwa local government area of the state on Tuesday. The videos were not that of Kaduna State, but foul pictures which poured water on the credibility of the story. So we apologize to the activist governor, Sani Ubasani of Kaduna State. Jide, our friend the governor did not take this lightly.
No, I've never seen him in such an angry mood. And you know, when someone is angry, it's usually a result or a culmination of so many things. He's been under some pressure for some time. And we have to admit, especially in the area of security,
yes.
And we have to admit that there is progress, especially in southern Kaduna, where people used to be killed like fowl. But things have improved rapidly in that area, you know. But it doesn't mean that all the problems are gone.
So, but the bottom line is that
remain.
The visual we used yesterday,
yes,
that is not Kaduna State.
And you know, the story of yesterday, it was actually the House of Assembly member representing that constituency, that local government,
yes,
that granted interviews to the media.
Yes.
We merely took it. It's not really our story.
Yes.
So the story may not be accurate, it may not be correct. We wouldn't know. Because what we do here most of the time is simply to look at headlines, newspaper headlines, and, you know, and analyze them.
Yes.
So, and in doing that, we ran those pictures that were clearly not from Kaduna. Mistakes happen.
Yeah, we're not above mistakes.
Yes, so as long as we are human, occasionally we will make mistakes, and we will be humble enough to admit our mistake and say, gentlemen, forgive us, let's move on. It has nothing to do with not liking the governor
at all.
This is a governor that when I was a young journalist, he used to visit me in my office in Junction Road, Kaduna. So why would I at this stage now say, oh, I want to bring down?
That's not
going to happen.
It's not all governor you meet that is as humble as governor.
Yes, I'm very open.
Very humble, very amiable.
Yes. And as an activist who joined us in the struggle, who was part of the struggle then, to chase the military away.
Yes.
You know, we are happy, we are proud of him that is on the saddle. We want activists who fought for democracy. We want them to benefit from what they fought for. So the mistake has been made, and we want to say we are sorry to the governor, and we will continue
the people of Kaduna State
to do our best to be very, very factual in everything we do. Yes. So we won't use such pictures again. And the producers have been told that if this sort of thing happens again, there will be consequences. I'm sure they realize that it's not right.
All right. Moving on now. Many Nigerians have argued that the problem with the Nigerian police is not capacity, but orientation and gross abuse. Hence, men and officers of the force can deliver when the occasion demands. It is another success story for the Ogun State Command, as some personnel neutralized 2 kidnappers causing havoc on the Shagamu-Ijebu-Ode Benin Expressway during a rescue mission. In a gunduel, the police killed 2 of the kidnappers, secured the release of 2 Indians, and recovered 7.9 million naira, suspected to be part of the ransom collected from victims. The success was recorded in collaboration with local vigilantes.
Attached to the first box with registration number FST 686YH, exchanged fire with the kidnappers and managed to escape with all the occupants of the first vehicle, while 3 Indian nationals, namely Tajaram Chuan, male, Kadua Pradhan, male, and Medanin Katwada, male, all inside the second bus without police escort, were all kidnapped to an unknown destination. The anti-kidnapping section of the command, in concert with police formations in the Axis and other local security agents, swung into action by combing the area. Policemen engaged the kidnappers in a fierce gun battle in the forest along Benin Shagamu at Papalanto around 16:30 hours of 7th May 2024, and succeeded in the rescue of the 3 victims on earth. In the course of the encounter, 2 of the 6 kidnappers were demobilized. 2 AK-47 rifles, 1 single-barrel locally made gun, 1 sword, cell phone, and criminal sharps, with 65 rounds of live ammunition were also recovered. The likely ransom loot of the 2 demobilized kidnappers of the sum of 7,900,000 naira and 1,500 rupees were also recovered. The 2 demobilized suspects have been deposited in the public mortuary, while intensive efforts are ongoing to arrest.
Babajide, anytime the Nigerian police force, they want to work, they go all out, they work.
Yes.
Do you understand? No matter how high or how difficult the investigation, they deliver. So at a point in time, we're just feeling that this happening in Ogun State Police Command, that is a big one. And Benjamin Ubiri is just joining us. Thank you for joining us, Benjamin.
Thank you very much.
Making your debut on Journalist Hangout. You're welcome.
Thank you very much. It's an honor to be here.
All right. We're talking about the Nigerian Police Force and their exploits in Ogun State Police Command, that they apprehended those people that kidnapped 2 Indians and recovered 7.9 million naira, and which was like suspected to be part of the ransom. So that anytime the police want to work, they work. Yeah. As much as we criticize them.
Criticism is normal in life, but to take it for the police, it's unfortunate that we have to refer to them in this way, that anytime they want to work, that's when they work. It should be that every time they want to work, they are on top of their game. It's unfortunate. We've seen Nigerian policemen go outside the country and produce good results. They go for courses and they are top of their classes. But when we come here locally, and to be fair, we see them also perform credibly on cases both locally and internationally. But on a scale of, say, about 100, if you're doing a survey and you look at the Nigerian police, you discover that what the Nigerian people say about them, saying if they want to work, they work, it's a fair description of what they do. We should have them work every time. We should be free and at home to go to the policeman and say, this is my problem, and have it solved. They only work where, if a big man is involved, if a highly political person is involved, and these results come out where there will be need for a media hype. The policeman, either locally, anywhere, should be able to give you a result that you need, and that's what I think. The Ogun State case is a good one. We credit them for doing a good job, but beyond that, we shouldn't rely on this. It should be a normal thing to say, look, this is what we expect the police to deliver, not a kudos thing.
It's a reflection of our country. It is not every time they should work. If Nigeria is not working, the Nigerian police force will not work.
Yes.
It's just a reflection of how, you know, how far we've gotten to in terms of development and otherwise. So Nigerian police force, if they are if they are not well funded as a country.
I get your drift. It's always said that every country gets the kind of law enforcement that it deserves. Nigeria deserves a much better law enforcement, and the police are in the forefront of fighting crime in our country, of even defending the country within its borders. But as we can see now, the army is very much involved in internal security. It's a reflection of our lack of faith in our police. And I think this actually started in the 80s. When we had the Maitasine attack in some parts of the north, it took the military to put an end to the nonsense that Maitasine represented. In Kano, the leader of Maitasine, Mohamed Marwa, who hailed from northern Cameroon, was actually put down, was actually killed during a military operation led by the former intelligence officer who worked with General Buhari at that time, Haliru Hakilu. It was Haliru Hakilu who led troops to the hideout of Maitasine in Kano and killed him. The police had not succeeded in putting him under control, putting Maitasine and their men under control. So with time, we began to rely more on policemen, on soldiers to help us police our communities, to help us defend. As we're talking about insecurity in the Northwest especially, you see that we draft police, soldiers to all of those places.
Before, it wasn't the case.
It wasn't the case.
Mobile policemen.
Yes, we used to respect the mobile police during the Shagari era, because they were well armed. They had the APCs, they had the equipment that they needed. They were called kill and go at that time. We then cannibalized their weapons and rendered them literally prostrate. Today, we can see some of the work that the police are doing. I believe that the Nigerian police has not reached its full potential. They can do a lot better than they are doing now if they are well funded, if we take care of their welfare, because when they die in battle, how do we take care of their dependents, their families that they leave behind? We chase them out of the barracks in a hurry. We do not remember them. Are the regular Nigerian policemen, are they insured? Does the average Nigerian policeman feel like, look, I'm going to defend my country with my blood, because I know that if I die, the country will take care of my people? When people look back and see the way family members of their old colleagues are suffering, they will not be inclined to give their best.
They want to enrich
let's not deceive ourselves. Yes. What is the pension that will pay a policeman who served his country for 35 years? Even people at the level of AIGs, what is we need to ask that question. Let the world know. You will see a big dichotomy between the police and the army. But as we have seen now, with even the example of their breakthrough in Ogun State, they have the capacity, they have the courage to get the job done. Sometimes under a very resolute and forward-looking leader, you can see a lot of changes. When you look at what Marwa is doing in NDLA, you think that he imported the staff.
Honestly.
This was the same dysfunctional agency that didn't really do much before he got there. So sometimes leadership also plays a part.
The last time we heard about the exploit of NDA was during maybe the time of this Bamayi man.
Yes.
All of a sudden, it went comatose, and
now that a new leader, everybody is talking about it. So the police sometimes, when you have a police commissioner in the state, a kind of operations person. Look at Edgar when he was in Lagos. Edgar was an operations person. He was very successful. He would sometimes lead them on operations.
We have them like that.
There are many of them. So when you are
Edgar, Osheni,
this guy who headed the other tactical, Kolo Yusuf, who later became CP in Zamfara, Kolo Yusuf and Abba Kyari, they were the two heads of the most successful tactical units of the police. They were the stars at that time. So anywhere you send Kolo Yusuf to, maybe he's retired now, I'm not too sure, but you know that he will deliver. Abiodun Alamutu has done well in Ogun State. And there's still time for him to even do a lot more, you know. And we are seeing them, yes. We really want to encourage them after this breakthrough.
Olatuji Disu, in Rivers State.
Disu headed the OC, he headed SAS in Rivers State. So by the time they sent him back to Rivers, they sent him to a familiar terrain because he headed SAS. He knows the terrain, he understands. Look at the criminal they had been looking for about 7 years.
Yes.
They eventually got him. The ones who killed that DPO, they got them, they've wasted him. So when you put the right people, sometimes it has a way of the right leader, it has a way of affecting everyone. Look at what RRS has done in Lagos. It's a model for other states. You know, it's a model for other states to copy. So I'm proud of Alamutu, and his boys.
Talking about Benjamin, talking about funding, you know, it's very, very essential. A policeman cannot be buying his uniform. A policeman cannot be boots. You don't expect, if you are guarding a place, we're told that even in installations that they guard, that they have to pay for their pistol, what do they call it? Bullets.
Yeah, I think we are looking at it in two different paradigms. On the one hand, we commend the police for this breakthrough. But on the other hand, we are saying this same police is not doing well because they are underfunded. So are those the people who are doing this breakthrough, are they getting funds from somewhere else? The bottom line is that there is a training. There is a minimum requirement from any policeman in this country. And there is no excuse whether you are funded or not. If you have a problem with a job, you leave it. It's like talking to a journalist and say, look, you buy your own radio, you buy your own recorder, sometimes you buy your own camera. The essence is that you deliver on the job. Every policeman has a responsibility to Nigerians. The problems of underfunding of equipment are general. But in this generality, we also see people who deliver. And I'm worried that...
why it affects operations especially. You go to an area
where you can face criminals,
and then you raise an alarm, because I have seen this as someone who has covered the military, the armed forces generally, and there is not one serviceable vehicle that they can use. Do you know that
how much is allocated to buy fuel?
When I lost my car, the police asked me whether I could get a vehicle for them to go to the location where they suspected that my car was taken to. These things happen. No, you don't give them interest. Somebody talked about interest of 18,000 naira. What can 18,000 naira do in a month?
If an accused is detained and he falls sick in the cell, you have to buy Panadol. You have to do everything.
I said the tools to do the job.
Everything.
The tools. If you don't have it, you cannot deliver.
These things are known. And we have a police service commission. We have the Nigeria police itself. Are we not addressing it? So police reforms is ongoing. And it continues.
It's underfunded. It's a big problem.
Yes, I follow. The police as it is now is not as it used to be. There are some improvements, yes. But should we not model these improvements so that they can trickle down? People can learn. They are the same places where we're talking about problems, inefficiencies and lack of funds. We are still getting results. What's happening? Some people have moved beyond
more results.
Yes,
that's the point.
It would have been a general thing.
There are places where there are no serviceable vehicles.
In
some cases, just two.
But have you seen those vehicles that were donated by Dangote? Did you see how they manage them? Many of them are not even functional as of now. Would you have a regular vehicle given to you and within 1 year it's already bad? Is it because it's the police? Are other people not using those same kind of vehicles and they are still functional?
Some of the vehicles that we are talking about, those sedans that Dangote and others gave them, they are not to be taken into forests and other places chasing criminals.
Bandits.
I'm saying that sometimes a whole area command has just 2 vehicles. So you find that sometimes they want to move, they want to fight the criminals, but they are static, they can't move. Go to an area command in Lagos and see vehicles that
disused,
without tires, just disused, just there. So there is no way we can wish away the fact that the police is grossly underfunded.
To be efficient.
In Lagos, where the police, in my view, is the most efficient in Nigeria, the impact of the police trust fund that all these big companies are contributing money into a pool where they buy.
It was started by the President Tinubu.
There was a day that the governor of Lagos State bought equipment worth more than 2 billion for police in one day.
If you remember, I'm about time.
Yes, in one day. Even
forensic
boats for the naval unit of the police. How come the police at the larger level or the from the headquarters cannot do those things by themselves? If states are not funding the police, they won't even come close to achieving what they are achieving.
Benjamin,
well, I think on this issue, I'll just want to leave it that no matter how underfunded the police is, let's get some level of result. We're not getting enough from what we are putting into the police. When we didn't have the NSCDC, for instance, we thought the police could not do anything. But the NSCDC came up and went into certain places and produced results, and to the envy of the police. Then we saw them pick up and say, no, if these people who are like semi-civilians can come up and get this result. They went into areas where they were doing bunkering, produced results. Then we saw the police pick up. So we need that. We shouldn't make excuses for the police. Let them rise up to their challenge. Do what they need to do with whatever is available for them.
Yes. We criticize them.
We criticize them.
We criticize them.
We're not giving excuses.
We criticize them. All right. All it takes for evil to persist in society is for men of goodwill to be silent and remain so. The worsening insecurity in Nigeria calls for concern. As such, members of the House of Representatives have expressed concern over the incessant kidnapping in schools and wanton destruction of lives and property across the country since 2014. In their resolution, the lawmakers mandated the House of Representatives Committee on Army, Air Force, Navy and Police Affairs and Defense to interface with security chiefs to identify how best to secure schools and provide lasting solution to the security challenges facing the country. The House also mandated schools to engage the services of private security outfits to complement efforts of security agencies. Jide, in the North, a lot of, if you look at the school enrollments in the last 5 years, has dropped. If you look at the number of boots we have on ground, security in terms of security, it's going to be difficult. This intervention by the House of Representatives is coming at a very, very good time. From 2014 till now, you can't start looking at the number of schools that have been attacked by bandits.
Yes, it all began with Boko Haram kidnapping 276 schoolgirls
in Chibok.
After that, the same Boko Haram went to Dapchi and also kidnapped schoolgirls. We found a way to bring them back. But bandits, who are not even regular terrorists, by the definition of the word, saw an opportunity to make money. They now began to kidnap school children. You see, when they kidnap school children, they get a lot of publicity. It becomes front page news. Government,
and they like being reported.
Government gets involved, and government,
that's the bottom line.
Government will pay ransom. They know that, because by the time they kidnap students, people will start shouting. More regular commuters get kidnapped. People hardly talk about it. It doesn't even become front page news. But when they kidnap students, our blood will boil. People will say, why did we allow this to happen? That is what they are exploiting. So they regularly go after students, knowing that we will find a way to get those students released, either by way of ransom or other means. We usually don't use military campaign to secure be released because of the fear of collateral damage. Once they succeeded in taking them to their base, to their camp, it's a waste of time to try to use military means, especially on such a huge number. You will kill people. And what this has caused is that more and more parents are not comfortable with allowing their children to go to school. I went to the school in Jengebe in Zamfara State, where school girls were kidnapped. By the time I returned to the place, less than about a year after that operation, the school reopened, but only half of the girls were back in school, despite their release. So this is when we say we want to defeat out of school children syndrome. If we don't keep those schools protected, and we allow these guys to kidnap people, we will not achieve our aim, because a child who has gone through that misery will not feel like going back to school. Look at those FGC girls in Ogun State. Some of them were married to bandits. They forcibly married them. They got some of them pregnant. By the time they released them, they had kids. So how will parents feel comfortable in an area where we are struggling
to even enroll naturally,
to get enrollment figures to go?
Yes, from time.
So this thing, I can understand why the House of Reps are very much concerned, because they know that with the rate, at the rate this thing is going, we will not be able to get more people to show interest in going to school, especially in the educationally disadvantaged part of our country.
All right, we'll take this breather. When we come back, we'll talk more. It's still journalist Hangout. We'll be right back after this time out.
Transformational leaders constantly seek opportunities to reflect, reskill, and re-strategize for peak performance. That is why we invite all senior leaders in the public and private sectors for the ultimate leadership experience at the Dr. Abiola Salami International Leadership Bootcamp, holding in Mombasa, Kenya, from June 23rd to 29th, with the theme, Driving Transformational Leadership with the Magic of Emotional Intelligence. This exclusive opportunity will expose senior leaders to a premium learning experience, a global faculty from Harvard University, daily relaxation schedule, luxury beach, and wildlife tours as they network with other global leaders. Don't miss out on this chance to engage and rejuvenate with thrilling activities in the scenery of Mombasa. Register before June 7th, 2024 to secure your spot. For inquiries, punch us an email on hello@abiolachamp.com. You can call us on +234 909 123 4567. DASIL is powered by Champ, a global leader in driving a culture of peak performance.
Thank you for staying with us. If you're just joining us, this is Journalist Hangout, and we're reaching you live from our studios here in the Federal Capital Territory, Abuja. And I have Babajide Kolade Otitoju and Benjamin Ubiri. Thank you for joining us, Benjamin.
Thank you very much.
So the House of Representatives is showing concern, and when they are showing concern in this phenomenon, it's not been, the school enrollment up north particularly, it's not been encouraging, but the concentration by bandits on those schools is kind of worrisome to parents especially.
Yeah, I think it is so because our schools have been porous up till now, and our idea of education has been very different. We have a lot of other things that should have been able to put, what is our strategy on ground that is supposed to help us understand how safe a school should be. What we are doing now is fencing of schools. That is the least important thing for any school. The safety of the children. How many security apparatus do we have in place for schools to be safe? What is the early warning sign? What is even the signal for the community to know that there's
going to be an attack?
No, there's going to be an attack. What are the signs that to know that there's this possibility? Sometimes they even give you a warning, and they don't take 1, 2, 3 children. They take a whole lot. We have also at the World Economic Forum a few years ago, I was there, and then they spoke about the Safe Schools Initiative. We thought that by now that should have been something that will snowball into bigger things. But that itself is an initiative on paper. We have monies voted out. We have ideas that will make our schools safe, but they are not implemented. We had school feeding. I mean, at one time in this country, we were feeding students or pupils who were at home, and they were supposed to be in school somehow. What is that? What does that say about us? We had The nomadic education, for instance, is supposed to be another idea of schools, that you don't have to go to a four-wall of a school. The school can come to meet you. How well have we tried to implement that? So that if the children are not safe in a four-wall, can we move education to them to make them educated in a place that is safe for them? Are we looking at other ways? Must we do things the way we have always done them? Are there newer ways to look at it so that people are safe and still get education? We are doing things as if this is ending. We must emulate the way the world is doing it. Everybody's talking about schools. We didn't start, for instance, the Open University until people, it had become a commonplace in other parts of the world. When we are doing, we should have homegrown solutions to school insecurity. And it doesn't have to mean that children must go to school the way they are doing in other parts. Let's look for other solutions. Bring them away.
I have a caller. Folatoye is calling us from Lagos, Nigeria. Thank you, Folatoye.
Good afternoon.
Yes.
Good afternoon.
Yes, go ahead, please.
Yeah, quick one. I just want to make a comment about the police issue. Kudos to Nigerian police force. We really appreciate them for what they are doing, and we expect them to do more. Your guest said if they can't work, they should leave.
Please make your comment. Leave my guest alone.
Okay, yeah. Sorry about that. I think if they are complaining about underfunding and they keep going one after the other, who will be left to police Nigeria? Please, we can all do better, and we should support them. Thank you.
Thank you, Fola. Thank you for your contribution. Yes, going like that.
My own feeling is that any place where we are not convinced that we can secure those children, there's no need to open.
Judy, I wanted to bring you back to Chibok.
Yes.
It's not as if they didn't have military guys surrounding that place. But the terrorists...
We made a big mistake then. That thing should not have happened if we had moved them to the state capital to write their exam.
As at that time.
But we felt that, okay, we had system soldiers guiding a place. Yes. Do you know how many fighters
they overran the place
will bring? They brought fighters in trucks. When Boko Haram is desperate to take a location,
yes,
Boko Haram are the apogee of their strength. When they are desperate to take a location, they will do their recce. They will know the number of soldiers on that location. They will bring 3 times that number.
Yes, they attack super camps.
They will bring 3 times that number. You won't even stay to fight them because they are carrying the same weapons you are carrying, and they have outnumbered you by ratio 3 to 1. And they have RPGs that you don't use in conventional
anti-aircrafts.
You have anti-aircraft guns, AAs. Have you seen where AA struck a human being? When you hear the sound, you won't try to come close. So these are the things we should. After that, there has not been any successful attack on a school in Borno State because they now built mega schools and brought the students in those areas that are not safe to Maiduguri. Monguno, for example, if the garrison town of Monguno, they relocated the federal government girls' school there to the state capital. Nobody has succeeded in attacking any of those schools.
Thank you for joining us, Larry.
Yeah, yeah. Good evening.
Yeah. Go ahead, please.
Yeah, good evening. Yeah, thank you, Mr. Ayo. Yeah, please, I'd like to contribute to what you are currently, the topic you are currently on. I was fortunate to school in former Gongola. A whole lot of people, a whole lot of children of these days, and they don't know what a state called Gongola State. During the time when I was going to school there, I was happy. We spent up to 16 to 22 hours on the road without any. We are overjoyed all the way from Lagos to this airport. None of us
Lagos to Gongola
are even going past it again now because of insecurity on the road. I could remember this. Myself, I like adventure. I try all possible ways to travel all the way to up to the north. Yes, sir. On January 14th, July 14th, 2020, I was kidnapped on the road when I was coming back from Abuja. Up to now, I still develop phobia on the road. I love road. I love to travel by road. I love to travel. It is something I will commend our Nigerian police. They are doing very well. They are doing a very good job. But please, they should do more.
Thank you, Larry.
Government of the state should please equip these people, and even the military, particularly the military. You see this.
All right, Larry, we have to leave it there. Our time is fast spent. Most times, a thin line distinguishes between a right idea at the right time and a right idea at the wrong time. It takes ingenuity for policymakers to make the distinction. Nigerians have continued to bemoan the effects of the different tariffs, taxes, and levies imposed by the federal government and service providers in the country. The latest is the introduction of a 0.5% cybersecurity levy by the Central Bank of Nigeria, CBN, in a circular to commercial, merchant, non-interest and payment service banks. Some experts said it will worsen inflation and impede growth of businesses in the country. As such, groups like the Socio-Economic Rights and Accountability Project, SERAP, and the Nigerian Labour Congress, NLC, called for immediate withdrawal of the directive. Jide, what is this cyber?
You know, we've got to feel for Nigerians at this time. And
cyber security levy.
When I say we've got to feel for Nigerians, the truth is, people are going through a lot. And everyone feels it one way or another. Any introduction of fresh taxes, fresh levies would worsen the situation for our people, would worsen the burden on our people. Disposable incomes will shrink, no matter how you want to look at it. And at a time when we are trying to discourage cash transactions, you want to take from people's money
online
through internet, electronic transactions, electronic banking transactions. There's no way that people won't feel that. Look, let's go and keep our money under our pillows.
Honest.
Already, many Nigerians are unhappy that banks are taking so much from them.
Yes. But
so many levies,
before the Naira
so many charges, so many charges that these banks are taking. Because you see, every bank literally runs on 24-hour electricity. They must keep the banking environment lit up because of vandals, thieves, and all that. And you know that diesel is costly.
Diesel,
so banks,
generator.
Banks charge you for literally everything. They need the money that you put in the banks to lend people. It is from lending that banks make a lot of money. But you are made to pay.
Yes. Every Sunday I wake up to see electronic money transfer.
Yes, all kinds of everything, every transaction that you do, they take money. Now somebody said, why is the Office of National Security Advisor literally turning into another revenue generating agency?
That should be securing us against bandits and everything.
Because you see, when you look at how much the quantum of money that will come out from this,
it's in trillions.
Is in trillions, and what is the size of our cyber security threat that requires this quantum of money? You know, I think that at the end of the day, when you look at this thing, yes, it's an amendment of the 2015 Act. But as I was discussing with the lawmaker yesterday, he said the problem with us is that there are even some laws that some are on the way. That at the time when they were introducing those bills, Nigerians did not show any interest. When you even call for public hearing, Nigerians will stay away. It's now that people are getting to know the full effect of this
legislation.
Yes, and it is not. It's not. No, they are blaming Ajuaju for it, but he wasn't the one that initiated it. You know, In the National Assembly, sometimes you introduce a bill. You have your reasons for introducing a bill. Your friends feel that they are obligated to support you to get that bill passed. Some of them without having a full grasp of what the bill is about.
Yes.
So anything that would take out of the disposable income of the ordinary Nigerian, you should expect that there will be a pushback.
Backlash.
Because you can see rapid inflation is what we are experiencing.
30%.
People we need to create a situation that allows Nigerians to breathe. This is my view. If I were the president,
I will not approve this.
I will do whatever. Yes, it's the National Assembly that came up with this bill and is already passed into law. If I were the president, I would discontinue the implementation of this thing. We need to improve the machinery for collection of taxes. Block the loopholes. We don't necessarily have to create more taxes. You know, during Ambo this time, it didn't really create new taxes, but it made the collection more efficient. And we saw an upward climb in the idea of
Benjamin, when you look at this, and a lot of people will see it as, look, that we can't afford this, that our people are burdened already.
Yeah, there are a lot of things that we cannot afford, but we are paying for. Yes, and if we had rewind a few years back, or maybe 10, 20 years back, and you look at our security situation now, and say we had 20 or 10 years ago said, can we evolve a security tax and you pay money so that Nigeria can be safe in the next 10 years? I'm sure as at that time we will not like it. But by now, if you had asked that question, going by what had happened in our security, you will say, look, we want to pay anything to just be alive, to be safe in Nigeria. Particularly those times where the bombs were going off. And I'll say the same thing about this. To look at our security, cybersecurity threat now and ignore it is a big problem. Because as little as it is, in fact, NSAS was tied around that. You see, they give it a whole lot of names. And you think it's as simple as, say, somebody just cyberbullying or stealing money or a threat to one country or the other. I think it's bigger than that. And it's a big problem that has not been totally unraveled, and it's something that is coming at us fast.
Okay, let's take this call from Stephen. Stephen is calling us from Abuja here. Thank you for joining us, Steve. Hello?
It's nice having you in the studio, Steve.
Thank you, Steve.
Right. My contribution this evening is this, in order just to make it brief. The economy is just starting on a reboot system, which the Tinubu administration is trying to stabilize the economy. Now, the subsidy removal has so many going on in the country that has affected every sector of the economy.
Everything.
Now, I heard Babajide saying something. Yes, that Nigerians are going through a lot. And he didn't expect, although he is aware of this bill that he said the National Assembly actually called for this. But the truth of the matter is this. Let the government also be sensitive. You don't keep bringing different things together to make things more worsened in the country. Things should be done step by step. Peradventure, this bill can come much later, maybe 2 years, maybe 1 year later, when the Tinubu administration has stabilized. I give it to you people in the studio right now. You're going to see another policy in this country that will be introduced to worsen the downtrodden again. This is not the first, and this will be the last. So what is the solution? If they care to listen, let the economy be stabilized first. Let Nigerian government, the federal government, should halt any plan they intend on the nation for now. Until the country is stable, it's okay. Then fresh bill. You know, when you are happy, even if they introduce anything to you, you won't be sad. But
Thank
people
you.
are struggling.
Thank you, Steve. Thank you for that good contribution. Like people, some ridiculous person said yesterday, he said, APC Hangouts, as if we come here, we can't criticize the policies of APC. As if this is not a policy, will not go. Our people are not happy with this today.
Some of the people say absolute rubbish on social media.
So APC and
they are semi-literate people. They don't even watch. They don't watch the program regularly. They get told stories. And the quality of perception is extremely low. Honestly. So how do you see me policy at this stage of my life? I can't criticize the government. What am I doing if I cannot criticize what I believe is right? How many times have we criticized the policies of this government? Okay. We criticized the policy and the government changed.
Yes.
When the president came up with this idea of 8,000 naira, you remember, we did 3 different episodes to say, no, you can't do this. He changed his mind. Yes. When the listening president, look at the second one. When they wanted to turn universities to revenue generating agencies, we said, no, this is wrong. They changed their minds. So those people, some have decided to hate us because we didn't agree that their candidate won an election. You see, so it doesn't. Those are the people who have made up their mind. Now, no matter what
we reported the election, we reported what we saw. The figure turned out, we reported it, and we predicted it. We knew the trend, and we predicted it. And you predicted that this APC Hangout, it will work.
Is it not this APC? Where some of them were calling me tomato journalist because I said tomato was too costly in the country. Is it not costly now?
We'll tell you. We'll give it to you. Don't worry. And finally, the Yoruba people have a saying that Ile Obatojo Ewalubusi, that a burnt palace gives rise to a more beautiful one. But that seemed not to be the case with the renovation of the National Assembly. The Senate Chief Whip, Senator Ali Ndume, has criticized the newly renovated Senate chamber as a work done haphazardly. Senator Ndume noted that the work is full of inadequacies in the sound system, poor seating arrangement, and absence of voting devices. This was after the project got billions of naira. Oh, I thought we had the story there. For some time, you know, when this assembly was inaugurated, the election and everything was done in that flat floor and everything. It was quite strange to look at the beginning, but we got used to it. But after some time now, they've gone back to their normal chamber and the green and the red chamber after they rehabilitated the thing. But Senator Ali Ndume, he doesn't hold back.
Yes, he tries to speak his mind all the time. You are not going to agree with him all the time because some of those views can be extreme. That's his nature. There's nothing we can do about that. But in this case, he has seen what clearly was wrong about the rehabilitation. And even the Senate President in presiding did not disagree with him. The Senate President merely said, look, you cannot blame the National Assembly leadership for this. The FCDA is their landlord. FCDA was the one that awarded the contract and supervised the implementation, the execution of the contract. So what Akpabio is saying is, look, until we become our own landlords and we have autonomy, we have our own, we take charge of our building by ourselves, this sort of thing that has happened, there's nothing we can do about it. But I still believe that the contractor that got the job back in 2021 can still rectify some of those complaints, because they need to be able to vote either electronically or
sound system. They need to listen to.
Yes, you know. He said there was too much echo. You know, in some cases the mics were not even working. You know.
That's a technical issue.
Yes. So if you are not ready,
see the bill of quantity to be sure what was in the contract in the first place.
Okay, Gbenga is calling us from Abuja. Thank you for joining us, Gbenga.
Yes, good day. And you are welcome to Abuja. It's nice having you in Abuja. And one of these days, we look forward to host you, to give you the treat of Abuja. Then the issue of cyber security, the levy, it's a good policy. It's to protect people. It's like an insurance that if I have an issue tomorrow and I got attacked and I lose some money, I can be compensated with some money. But the timing is not right. Number two is that there's not enough publicity, awareness about it.
Just came suddenly.
Yes. About the policy, that is the benefit you have from it. And then look for a time when things are relaxed, when the economy is good, they can now reproduce it. or if not, let them amend the act and remove it.
Thank you. Thank you, a very valid observation.
Benjamin, they are complaining about poor sound system, poor seating arrangements, and absence of voting device, which is very critical.
Yeah, like I noted earlier, we needed to see the bill of quantity itself, the contract itself. What was the contractor meant to do? If that was not included in his contract, there's no way we can fault him for that. What he needed to do was simply tell the management, these are observations I think we need, and not blame a contractor for not doing what was not included in his contract. Besides that, was the job, the National Assembly, is it better than it was before? Is there an improvement? It may not look perfect anyway, but is there an improvement? Is there a specification that was needed and it got? There was a time where the National Assembly had no member with a physical disability. And on one of those occasions, they wanted to do, to celebrate the International World Disability Day or so. And some of them came there with wheelchairs, only to discover that they couldn't enter the chambers of the Senate.
It wasn't built
It wasn't built with that. A few years, that year or the year after, I think they fixed it. They put in a ramp, and subsequently they got some members, one or two senators who came in with wheelchairs. And I think the building is not the Senate. Let's get good sound equipment. Yes, let's get people to do their job. But the Senate should be better than the building that we're looking at. That's my own view.
Rotimi is calling us from Abuja. Thank you for joining us, Rotimi.
Yeah, good evening. I want to speak on the issue of Nigerian police. Good evening once again. You discovered that... hello?
Go ahead, Rotimi, on air.
Thank you very much. We discovered that it is pathetic the situation we met the Nigerian police today in Nigeria. Your colleagues over there said they ought to be doing better. I disagree with you. I agree with Mr. Babajide because issue of funding connects to everything in Nigerian police. We talk about training. Are they well trained for combatants? These are the questions we are asking. Technology. Do they have enough technology to combat some of the threats in our country? These are the issues. Decentralization of the system. Before if something happens in the state, the governor, can he give directive? They wait for Abuja to give them directive before they enter where the threat is emerging. All these issues, are we talking about the decentralization of the power of the police? So that if the state, the National Assembly can come up with the laws that will enable us to enact.
Thank you, Rotimi. Thank you, Rotimi. So there was a time the National Assembly, it rained and it was leaking.
Yes. And those were the negative circumstances that pushed them to ask for renovation. And the people will say, no, there was no need for this. But if you had that kind of situation,
they are mopping the floor.
It's a national
disaster. Where
national disaster. Now that video went viral.
Yes, they were mopping
people
the
are
floor.
saying all kinds of things. But I believe that even if the National Assembly had to allow a company from the FCDA, introduced by the FCDA, to do that project, to handle that construction, they should have even done some level of supervision, to look at the work done and ask themselves, because things like sitting arrangements,
yes, when you have names of ranking senators,
yes, they are not meant to be
seated.
They are not things that you can easily adjust. So what were they doing? Did they simply didn't bother about what was going on, about the quality of the work, or what was actually being done? Because now is complaining that this thing, there is no way that you could be deemed to have done a good job without the facilities for voting.
No,
because nearly
very important
on so many issues they have to vote.
They have to go vote, to go down the wire, and they have to vote.
Yes. So these things, discovering these things, some of them may want to be politically correct and not comment. But as you can see, even the Senate President admitted that yes, those observations were right. But look, it is not our fault. It deflected blame from, because of course Nigerians will not know who indeed awarded the contract, who supervised it and all that.
Yeah,
but I think they can still find a way.
Voting facility for a long time and they didn't use it. We know we want it to be there.
There's some issues.
They use it.
Do you understand?
During
the electoral act, that is
even in choosing their leaders, for example, they used it. It's not every time that you can resort to a voice vote.
But there are some
very that you can't resort to voice votes. I've even seen where they use voice votes, and it looked like the nays had it, but they said it was
that's the prerogative of the speaker. Of the Senate president, we just hear God.
But I also know that in process of contract, before you hand over a contract, somebody must come.
Maybe they didn't do that. Because somebody cleared it, they will have made sure that everything was right.
I want to thank you, Benjamin Obiri. In spite of the short notice, we'll expect you back. We'll call you. We'll call you. And the maestro himself.
Thank you.
Babajide Kolade Otitoju. And that's our offering today. Join us tomorrow for another episode of the program. You can watch the repeat broadcast tonight at 11 p.m. Join us this Sunday from 1:30 to 3:30 p.m. for Journalist Hangout. On Sunday, we're on YouTube, youtube.com/TVC News Nigeria. I'm Ayodele Ozubakun. Bye for now, and God bless Nigeria.
Now where they come from? For inside this hot sun.
Antenatal enter market.
I happy well for this clinic where they go. It is very important for the baby.
Not true. It will make me dey safe. Me and my baby where they carry for my belly.
That means everybody, plus including pikin, so where they inside belly, go collect vaccine.
Today, I collect vaccine for tetanus. I collect vaccine for COVID. And those vaccines, now them go take care of my baby and me myself. And now I can't know say he get vaccine for pikin them separately. And he get the one for pregnant women like me. I dey follow who no rule.
Women when get belle supposed to collect them COVID and tetanus vaccine. They protect them and them pikin for belle from infection. Waka go any health center or call 7722 for more information.
The following is a paid presentation by ShopX TV.
Tired of pans that scratch and stick? Or cookware that takes up valuable space in your kitchen and are of little to no use? Cooking used to be fun, but now it just feels like a chore. Introducing ShopX Gotham Hammered Copper Collection, the perfect cookware to upgrade your cooking experience. The Gotham Hammered Copper Collection features a super durable ultra non-stick surface. Eggs stick to other pans, but with the Hammered Copper Collection, they slide right out. Incredible! Plus, the Cool Touch solid cast handle makes it safe and easy to cook even the hottest dishes. It's oven safe up to 500 degrees, so bake this beautiful chicken suya pizza and serve it straight from the pan. Or this tasty delicious cake that will have your whole family asking for more. Any recipe can be made in these pans, and then it wipes clean with ease, so cleanup is a breeze. Plus, use your hammered copper pan to make homemade pancakes that flips and slips right out. Or make mouth-watering jollof rice or even floppy pounder with ease, because nothing sticks.
I needed a culprit to keep up with me. The Gotham Hammered Collection has been a game changer. No more burnt meals or hours spent scrubbing pots.
The Gotham Hammered Copper Collection is now available in Nigeria exclusively from ShopX TV. You could be paying over $490,000 for a collection of pans that are not even non-stick. Call the number on your screen now and get it for just 364,950 naira. This incredible ShopX offer includes one 8.5 inches fry pan, one 10.25 inches fry pan, one 1.4 liters saucepan, one 2.4 liters saucepan, one 4.7 liters stock pot, one stainless steel steamer, 4 tempered glass lids. But wait! If you order now, we will upgrade you to the Premier Kitchen Collection at no extra charge and also include one cookie sheet, one round baking pan, one square baking pan, one loaf pan and muffin pan, and one all-in-one food processor that blends, grinds, chops, dices, pounds yam and makes smoothies in seconds. all for just 364,950 naira only. And that's not all. You can get the ShopEx Premier Kitchen Collection in 2 easy payments of 182,475 naira. Place your order now and we will deliver the entire collection for free anywhere you are in Nigeria. But hurry, this exclusive ShopEx TV offer is for a limited time only, so call now while stocks last. The following was a paid presentation from ShopEx TV.
At TVC News, wherever the big news story is happening, we're geared up to break it. TVC News.
It's 21 days to President Tinubu's first year in office, and we're exploring his administration's policies and how well they've performed against the campaign promises last year. You can join the conversation right now on X using hashtag Beyond 100 Days. Remember to tag at TVC News NG and at Nifemi Oguntoye. But let's begin with some news updates starting from Delta, where Governor Sheriff Oborori has announced the complete withdrawal of military personnel from Okwama community since the 14th of March killing of 17 Army personnel in the Riverine community in Ughelli South local government area. The governor, who disclosed this during a press briefing in the government house, also says with the withdrawal, the displaced people of Okwama community are now free to return to their homes 8 weeks after the fled, just after that incident.
I spoke with the Chief of Army Staff, Lieutenant General Lagbaja, on Monday, 6th of May. And as of today, 8th of May 2024, the military have withdrawn from Okwama. With this development, the people of Okwama can now safely return to their homes and begin the process of reintegration and rebuilding their homes.
Let's turn now to Benue State, where the governor, Hyacinth Alia, has assured that adequate measures have been put in place to ensure security and safety of all youth corps members serving in any part of Benue. Governor Alia made this commitment at the closing ceremony of the 2024 Batch A Stream 2 orientation course at NYC Permanent Orientation Camp in Tarka local government area. The state coordinator of the corps, Dankaro Ashumate, expressed gratitude to the governor for the commencement of payment of 15,000 naira to corps members and 100,000 for graduates of medicine.
My dear compatriot, I reiterate that as you travel from here to your various destinations, prioritize your personal security. Your identity card must be carried along from now till the end of your national service.
I reiterate that you have no reason whatsoever to entertain any fear of unknown. This is because we have put in place adequate measures to ensure your security and safety in all the nooks and crannies of the state. I want to assure you of the warm reception and acceptance across all communities, as well as maximum cooperation. However, I enjoin you to respect their traditions, norms, and customs so as to enjoy their hospitality to the fullest.
In 21 days, President Bola Tinubu's administration will clock 1 year in office. How far has the president gone with some of his economic policies, anti-corruption war, bilateral agreements, foreign trips to bring investors into the country, and his attempt to give Nigerians the promised renewed hope? Joining me to examine this is lawyer and public affairs analyst Daniel Bwala. Daniel Bwala joins me live from the UK. Mr. Bwala, thank you for joining us on the program.
Thank you for having me. Good evening to your viewers.
Indeed, let's begin this conversation on the personal front, and I'm sure you're used to these questions already. You were with the APC, you then moved to PDP for the last election as spokesperson for the Atiku Okowa campaign organization. And now it does seem you're on your way back to your former party from the body language we've seen recently. But let's talk about your recent tweet. There's a tweet of yours that talked about the ability of Mr. President to govern from anywhere in the world, whether or not the vice president is in the country. And it's seen by many as a response to an initial tweet by a former principal. That has gotten quite a lot of reactions as we speak. I don't know if you take time to read these reactions yourself, but what do you make of how many have responded to your decision to support this government? Some have shared old videos of your strong criticisms of Mr. President in the past. Others say you have become spokesperson for both the APC and PDP. I think I read one comment that actually said you were actually an APC mole in the PDP presidential campaign last year. How do you react to these comments?
Actually, you have asked me close to 9 questions altogether. Let me try. Some of them have been answered before, but let me just say that we have, Nigeria, people are suffering under multi-dimensional poverty. You have the last election, which was characterized by hate speech and bigotry, which the campaign of the candidate from Labour Party introduced, where you find that a lot of his followers, which quite frankly, if you ask me, there are a few of them, some of them are my friends, we share different views, we relate and we, oppose each other. But a greater number of the people who push for him are agitators, they are secessionists. I can call them Biafran agitators who happen to dominate the social media. And therefore, if you look at their engagement, there is nothing that appeals to them. For them, if you ask them, it's for us to wake up Nigeria tomorrow morning and see that there is no Nigeria. So I don't actually focus on those. So even when I see reaction that they say Nigerians say this person said this, I filter. You see, because life, you have to be able to know how you focus on things that matter. What matters to us as a country now, how do we advance Nigeria? That's the most important thing. Election is ended. Yes, I worked under Atiku. Yes, I was critical of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. On the other side, as a member of the opposition, it is the rules of engagement in politics. When you market your product, you demarket the other product. But you will not find a single comment from the beginning to the ending where I came down on the personality of the president. But when people even talk, they should have known that before I even went to PDP, I was Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu's diehard supporter. I was, even in APC, I belonged to the camp that is apologist to Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu, which was the reason why I worked with Comrade Adams Oshomole. And when the attack was so much, I decided to rather go down with him than to betray him when the opportunity called for me to walk away from him. So this is the foundation. In the primaries of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, we played the major role in advancing his cause at a time when even some of the people you could say who have been his political godsons turned their backs away from them. But today he's not looking at them with bad eyes because that is politics. What I think Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu, the president, has done, which has now set him apart, is that rather than looking at politics from the prism of bitterness and unforgiveness, he looked at politics from the prism of winning, winning engagement. And that's why you see him keep winning even people in the opposition day by day by day by day. But that's not the focus. What we are focusing, my brother, is Nigeria. How do we advance the country? How do we alleviate the sufferings of the people? This is where President Bola Ahmed Tinubu is focused on.
And we're going to touch on that very quickly. We're going to talk on governance and quite a number of things you also spoke about recently. But correct me if I'm wrong, you're still a card-carrying member of the PDP, right?
No.
Oh, no.
Yes.
That's amazing. The last time I saw an interview of yours, you said you're still a member, but that your soul and spirit isn't with the PDP. So you resigned your membership?
I challenge you to go and check their register, whether you see my name.
All right. So if it's true that you're returning to the APC, do you think that the party would trust you, given how close you were before leaving the party?
Whether they trust me or not is immaterial to me. The most important thing is I made a decision to support President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. He trusts me. He gives attention to me. He listens to me. He encourages me. And that to me is more than what you can ask for. There are people who are even in the government, appointed by the government. They didn't enjoy such privilege. So I am not looking at politics from the prism of wanting to please everybody. The most important thing is your conscience and your works. Whenever I commit to a cause, you cannot see a percentage out. All of my focus and everything will be in. Even the fiercest critics will know I mean. That is how I made the decision and commitment to support President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. So what anybody else says, whether from PDP or even APC, will not move me. If President Bola Ahmed Tinubu tomorrow says, Bola, I don't need your support, that's a different thing. But the person I made a decision to support, he encourages me, he gives me attention. That is the most important thing to me. It's more than Premier League trophy to me.
All right. Well, by the way, you've met with him twice now, and we'll probably talk about that shortly as well.
3 times, actually.
Oh, 3 times. That's amazing. Perhaps you will tell us a few things to discuss in the course of this conversation. But Mr. President is considered one of the most influential politicians on the continent before he emerged president last year. And we are seeing how that is impacting opposition politics as we know it in Nigeria. For instance, one of the biggest stakeholders in the PDP is now a member of his cabinet. I'm wondering what you think about the quality of political opposition under this administration. I remember speaking with the Benue APC Publicity Secretary last week, and he mentioned unequivocally that the Benue PDP will support President Tinubu in 2027 if some conditions do not change. Do you think that the Tinubu political stature has changed the status quo as we know it as regards opposition politics in Nigeria?
So what President Bola Ahmed Tinubu is using, some people say soft power, but he's using the power of engagement, the war of attrition, and the capacity to engage. Now, as I speak to you today, you are only mentioning Benue. But I can tell you that probably record will show the chairman of PDP Governors Forum, who is the governor of Bauchi, he has declared his support to President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. The key leaders in that party, on recent time, you have seen a lot of them who have come out and said they are supporting President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. You know, the intriguing thing about President Bola Ahmed Tinubu is that there are some who are not even saying they are leaving their party, but they said that 2024, 5, 6, 7, and to the second term of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, they are supporting President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. Now, did President Bola Ahmed Tinubu use any coercion? Certainly no. And this is why, like you said, it sets him apart because politics is about engagement. Politics is about collective and national interest. And politics, more than anything else, is about showing that you care for the people you engage and talk with. And that this is what, so that I know for a fact, God keeping President Bola Ahmed Tinubu alive and well, his second term is almost done, guaranteed. But I'm not suggesting that for anybody to be overexcited or to be relaxed. But I'm telling you, if you're judging based on what you are seeing around all political parties, let me even say, before the end of the first term of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, Peter Obi is going to throw his support to President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. Just watch as the trend goes. And this is politics.
What a prediction.
Yes, because there is a unanimous agreement that power should go to the South and that the North has had 8 years. Now, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu has won and he's doing the first term. But by the time he is concluded, even the greater part of the Northern people will prefer that he finish the second term so that if power goes to the North, they believe he should be able to stay for 8 years. It will not be sensical after 4 years for them to do everything possible to move it back.
All right.
But politics is not even about minus and plus. It's about engagement. That's why it is too early to even talk about political processes. We should talk about governance.
I agree with
you,
about the Mr. Bola. Because we have a very short time, let's move away from politics and touch on the economy. Or perhaps we should begin with the anti-corruption effort in the past year, because you seem to have been quite vocal on that. I've heard your fair analysis on how AFCC has fared with the Bobrisky and Yahya case. But without going into the details of all of that, are you saying nothing has really changed with these agencies, or particularly the AFCC, even under this administration?
So it is not about administration, it's about the agency of government. Because although I know that agencies of government are offshoot of the executive powers, but if you have seen how the president has remained neutral in the past weeks and months in terms of allowing agencies of government to function, so if
corruption agencies have had on high-profile corruption cases in the past, and if things are going to change anytime soon. Mr. Bola, are you back now? All right, let's take a short break. And then when we return, we'll continue this conversation. Stay with us, everyone.
Do solemnly swear.
Lawyer and public affairs analyst Dana Boala is my guest on the show this evening. Thank you for staying the course on the program. The EFCC has a track record of not adequately prosecuting high-profile cases, in the past years, and it is not limited to any administration. One would think that it should be different under this administration because it's why we change government every 4 years. Don't you agree?
I agree. And that's why I told you, because the chairman is a lawyer, there's a law that is expected of him. The reason why EFCC over the years have not succeeded in getting conviction on high-profile cases is because EFCC focused more on media and drama than in actual case. Because the justice system that we practice in Nigeria is that even if you have a volume of allegation against an accused person, he's presumed innocent until he's proven guilty. The person who has the burden of proof is the prosecution. The standard of proof is beyond reasonable doubt. And every element constituting the offense in the charge must be proven. You must be able, for example, in the case of Yaya Bello, to establish that these crimes that you say, these monies you say he has taken, that there was actually a taking of the money, and that the person who took it was Yaya Bello, and that he took it with the intention to steal. This is where in law we talk about mens rea and actus reus. You cannot focus on this and still be distracted by media because it involves a lot of tactfulness, investigation, and due diligence in handling the matter. The minute you resort to the drama of wanting to arrest him to prove a point, like in this case now, how can EFCC, after they submit to the jurisdiction of the court, now be looking for Yaya Bello? Yaya Bello is no longer the property of EFCC now. It's the property of the court. It is the court that will determine what happens to him. But you see, when they keep saying we must arrest him, we must do it, it's creating more of a problem. The most troubling one, my brother, is that statement that says Yaya Bello should be given access through the back door, special man's gate.
Yes.
That special man's gate requires investigation because if it is proven that that is not consistent with their procedure, then it can give room for compromise.
Perhaps there's a reason why media trial, has been the hallmark of successive administration of the EFCC. There must be a reason why each leader resorts to this, but we don't have enough time to explore that. Let's talk about the economy very quickly. The Tinubu campaign pre-election was strong on the economy, and we've seen this administration take some tough decisions in that regard. The essay to the President on Information and Strategy recently claimed this administration has attracted more than $20 billion into the economy within its first year. Add to it the trillions saved from fuel subsidy removal. But how do you explain that to the average Nigerian who has to deal with high inflation rates and the hardships these decisions have brought?
Right. So before I go, please permit me to finish my thought on that area of anti-corruption. When you say successive government administrations involved in media trial, that's wrong. I don't want us to tie every imbalance and misbehavior of agencies of government to the executive like the president.
No. I didn't say successive administration, Mr. Boala. I'm talking about the successive leadership of the anti-corruption agency. You agree that the idea of media trial has been with us not just in the past year?
I agree. And the reason is because they did not copy correctly the intendment of media trial and or real prosecution from the FBI. There are two approaches. If you are naming and shaming a person and you do not intend to charge the person to court, then you can do all of this media thing because the whole idea is to disparage his image, probably block him from being appointed or block him from being elected, like the way James Comey did to Hillary Clinton. He went into the media and started talking about allegations against her, which impacted on the voting. At the end of the day, she lost the election by Electoral College. So this is naming and shaming. You are free, you can use media. But if you intend to prosecute, they cannot be connected. You cannot do the two and succeed at the same time. Rule of law is not one for the weak and different one for the rich. It has to be applied to all because nobody is above the law and everybody is equal before the law. So this is the excesses of EFCC in my view, not just in Yaya Bello's case, but in every other high-profile case. That is the reason why we are not seeing conviction. The conviction you're seeing with all these small offenses like Yahoo boys and some of the destruction of Naira or mutilation of Naira is because most of these convictions you are seeing, they are not actually conviction. They get the people to admit. They give them all kinds of promises. We will not prosecute this, admit it. So when they go to court, the people plead guilty. And any president that wants to see whether the commission works or not, when they bring you reports of the successful conviction, ask that they separate between conviction on Yahoo boys and conviction on high-profile cases. You will discover that from 1999 till today, EFCC has not achieved more in terms of prosecuting high-profile cases, which is the main reason why the commission was established. Now, going to the economy, you see, what President Bola Ahmed Tinubu is doing as a leader is to reset the economy, and that is to bring about reform. It is never going to be convenient. It's never going to be like food on the table. And President Bola Ahmed Tinubu was very frank and has been consistent on that, telling the Nigerian people that this reform will bring a lot of discomfort and hardship, but let us all have the hope in the government and in the reform that there will be light at the end of the tunnel. That is frankness. That is, ask all the economics in the world. They will tell you reform. I have never seen a reform that comes with convenience. But we are now, the numbers are showing that the reforms are happening. Look at the increased revenue we have through the removal of subsidy that afforded this government the opportunity to redistribute the wealth across the state and the local government. And the states and local government have experienced what I call oil boom in the midst of economic hardship. The reason you ask, why is it that it is not translating on the table of the Nigerian people? I can tell you from my observation, is because while the federal government is making her effort, the state government is not complementing by ensuring that these monies they are experiencing also should be devoted to their people. Politics is local. Everybody comes from a state. But you see that with the increased revenue, less than 20% of the state governors have introduced either reform or intervention or any form of programs that will impact on their people. So everybody now thinks it is still the president and his policies that is not working. And the governors are so powerful. We have had and we still have that defect in our presidential system of government. We are 70% of what happened in the spheres of our lives are influenced by governors, inclusive of even the appointment that the president makes, the ambassadorial position, almost everywhere. The National Assembly has now been serenaded by former governors. So if you look at it from the holistic point of view, you can understand why things are not going in the speed that they are supposed to do. And the president is a Democrat. He will not start fighting governors. He can only plead with them, but the Nigerian people can see what is happening. We have seen increased revenue.
We have run out of time, Mr. Boala. The question, however, is whether there's a human face and whether this administration is also very sensitive to the plight of the people. Take, for instance, the cybersecurity levy that the CBN directed banks to charge. That's in addition to all of the many charges: stamp duty charge, value-added tax, SMS fee, maintenance, monthly maintenance fee. The list is endless. So you hear the outcry from the people saying, is this government paying attention to how people feel and where the shoe is pinching them? Can you respond to that in just a minute?
The government is paying attention, right? Some of these tax and levies are necessary to generate revenue. In England here, they tax, they put levies. The only difference between England and Nigeria is that when these taxes are collected, it should reflect in the social life and services that is rendered to the Nigerian people. I think that the Nigerian people should focus on how the money is being used rather than criticizing the effort. If you look at this levy, the cybersecurity levy, if you look at the 16 exemption, you will see that this levy is not significantly affecting the poor or significantly affecting every facet of our life. In less than 60 seconds, let me tell you, the exemptions are loan disbursement and repayment. You will not require to pay the levy. Salary payment, you will not. Interbank transfer between you and your other bank in the same bank, you will not. Interbank transfer between customers of the same bank, you will not. Other financial institutions, interbank placement, bank transfers and CBN, vice versa. Interbank transfers within a bank, check clearing and settlement, letters of credit, bank recapitalization, savings and deposit, government social welfare program, non-profit organization, education, paying of school fees and the rest. All of these things are exempted from this levy. So if you look at it critically, where the levy is coming out from is not one that will stifle or kill the masses. I think let us have faith in the government, but focus more on what the money is going to be used for. That, to me, is the most important thing. The president knows the people are suffering, and he keeps pleading with them while he pushes his agenda towards a better Nigeria.
Lawyer and public affairs analyst Dana Bola, thank you so much for joining us on the program this evening.
Thank you, as always.
And that's our show today. You can watch it all over again at midnight and at 6 a.m. tomorrow. I am Nifemi Oguntoye. See you again at the top of the hour.
Now we are not the hurry go like say something they pursue.
Oga landlord, na favor with the sick so.
He did hospital with Mama Favor.
Favor get diphtheria. She dey.
Maybe you they carry a go take immunization.
Oga landlord,
I been never give a vaccination before.
But since we born Favor, we never carry and go collect immunization before.
Mama Favor na your friend. You know they tell her.
I tell him. Even save me and my husband follow you talk that time. You dey here when Joy, my sister, born. Every time they carry him pikin for immunization as he supposed. Even Joy follow collecting COVID vaccine that time.
Now the head of our pikins them with the talk for years. If them no collect their immunization, as he supposed be, now their head will they put for danger. So you know go follow no road.
If your pikin miss to collect any immunization, then go any health center to complete them. Make papa and mama them use that chance collect them COVID vaccine. Call 7722 for more information.
The following is a paid presentation by ShopX TV.
Tired of pants that scratch